Hey guys, today I'll be showing you guys how I like to cook my steaks, but it's also the same method that a lot of steakhouses use. It's called reverse searing. So your favorite steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse, Longhorn, Outback. The first step, which only applies to if you're just cooking the steak in a pan and not using the oven at all, is tempering the steak, which is basically where you leave it out of the fridge for at least 30 minutes, helping the steak come up to room temperature, so that way whenever it hits the hot pan it doesn't tense up, so that way it's harder for it to cook. The next step, which is optional, is to tenderize the meat, which you can do this through just poking a bunch of little tiny holes in the steak, breaking it down so that way whenever you chew it, it's not as tough whenever you bite into it. I'm using Osmo to season my steak, which is Nick DiGiovanni's steak seasoning. I think it tastes really good, that's why I'm using it. And you can just make sure to get every part of the steak whenever you season. Definitely do both sides too. Whenever I was cooking these steaks, I was also cooking for my family, which is why if you notice that that the steak magically changes shape, it's because I was using a New York strip and a sirloin. The next step is to put them in the oven set at 250 for around 15 to 20 minutes. You can also do it for longer if you want your steak to be more cooked on the inside. The next step is to put some oil in your pan, and the pan that you're using does matter. You can either use a cast iron or a stainless steel, but I actually don't have either of those, so I'm just going to use this fancy copper one that my mom has. And then the type of oil that you use does matter as well. And basically you can look at this chart and you want to use one that says low next to it, because if you use one that has a high smoke point, then by the time that it's smoking, then the pan would be too hot, which could burn the steak. The next step is to go ahead and put the steak in the pan with the oil. And if you're using a steak that has a strip of fat on the side of it, start with that because you need to sear off the fat cap, which basically helps the steak cook more evenly. After around 2 minutes, you can flip it and then cook the steak for another 2 minutes on the other side. You can also use a spoon to pour some of the hot oil over the steak, helping it cook the top more. The next step is to baste the steak, which you can start by putting some butter in the pan and then waiting for it to melt. You can also add some garlic and whatever spices you want. And then after everything's melted, you can use the same spoon that you used for the oil and just pour all the butter and spices over the steak, which gives it a good taste on top too. You need to flip it too. The next step is to cut the steak, and to do this you need to cut against the grain. And cutting against the grain basically means to find the little lines going across the steak and then cut across them, because if you cut with them then it's tougher for you to chew, and if you cut across them then you're going ahead and breaking it down more, so that way it's more tender whenever you eat it. And finally you can serve it up. Hope this helped you guys, and if it did, please like and subscribe.